Hi there and welcome to Saving Ophelia. My name is Thijs and this is Ophelia, as you can see in slightly windy weather conditions. Yeah, I know I said there wouldn't be a new episode this week as I'd be traveling with my kids during the fall break and so on. I changed my mind though. Well, more precisely, I had my mind changed for me, and no, it wasn't my wife doing the changing, not entirely at least. While we were gone, the weather forecast started talking about the possibility of the first real fall storm of this year. And quite unusually, it looked like the winds would be coming from the easterly directions this time. The harbour Ophelia is in, Marstal Harbour, shields her very well against waves from all directions and from the prevailing westerly winds. And although the harbour is very open to the east, the wind really shouldn't be a problem since Ophelia isn't rigged. The fact that Ophelia is tied up along the quay could be a bit of an issue though, as she would be pressed against the quay by easterly winds, and even without the rig she does present quite a bit of surface area for the wind to press against. However, we've got plenty of fenders out, and normally Ophelia's fenders should mitigate any problems with being pressed against the quay. But with the winds coming from the east, the water levels in the western part of the Baltic Sea tend to rise, sometimes quite dramatically. And when you add to that I'm in the process of building a new east-facing garage roof, which hasn't seen any really windy weather conditions yet, we decided to head home to check on both Ophelia and the house.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about Ophelia bashing against the quay because, well, steel against wood. At worst, I'll get a few dents and scrapes here, but I'm slightly worried because the water's supposed to go up another, bit above a meter, and we currently have 80 centimeters from the water surface to the edge of the quay, and we have this little problem here to contend with. Yeah, that little plug here, because, well, if the water rises enough, it could potentially bash against the quay. I don't think that's going to happen. It's like 80 centimeters below the water line, so it's quite unlikely. But that's why I had the line from the side now to the middle here, because that could keep Ophelia away from the quay. But we'll see how things works out.
So we're now in the middle of a stormy period here, a stormy couple of days, and this doesn't look too bad, like 12 to 14 meters per second. It's windy, but not excessively so. And, it's going to get worse, but it's not going to be really bad. You can see it's going to peak at around, what was that? Around 20 meters per second. So not too bad. And this is what it currently looks like out in the real world. This was recorded an hour or so after the previous clip, and while it's hard to see, the water has already risen quite a bit. Ophelia's deck is now no longer at the same level as the quay, and do note that big tire. It's probably the best gauge of the water level until the water gets closer to the edge. So, and this is what that current situation looks like on a map. You can see we have somewhere between 90 and 120 centimeters above normal, which isn't too bad. But if we let that run forwards, you can see that that's going to change. We have a buildup of water here because there's a lot of water that needs to pass out this way here, and there isn't a lot of room here, here, or here. So it builds up, and it's going to peak at around 180 to 240 centimeters above normal. That's, a bit over half meter, 1 meter and 80 to 2 meters and 40. 1 meter and 80, that's my height. So the water's going to flood the quay down by Ophelia, and that's not going to be very pretty. Yeah, the water's risen quite a bit. You can see yesterday the edge of the deck was just outside of the edge of the quay, and today, half a meter above or so, and the water's like, you saw how that tire was covered yesterday, just barely touched, and we're still about half a meter short of where the forecasts say we're going to be when it's peaking. So yeah. Let's go over here and have a look. Not as tranquil as it usually is. A good thing I got that line out there, because that's probably going to be needed. It's starting to get a bit more tight than it was yesterday. Yesterday was completely slack, but I just checked on the inside. There's no water getting in, so we're in a fairly good shape. Had to adjust the moorings a bit though. They're starting to pull Ophelia towards the quay, so that wouldn't do. But all in all, I think this will work out fine. Yeah, the neighbors are doing well as well, although the ship is tilting quite a bit due to the wind. But good thing I did what I did yesterday, because otherwise, yeah, would have been a bit problematic not having that line out there. It's kind of a safety line when we get half a meter more. Just showing you the quay might not illustrate the proportions here, but this is the small slipway I showed you recently. Yeah, there isn't much left of the slipway, really. It's like only the very upper part with the cradle over here. Everything else is underwater. All the bridges are gone. You can see here, that's like 20 centimeters of water over here. Yeah, now we're at that travel crane where I had that problem with not having enough water. Currently there most definitely is, but there's no way I'll be able to move Ophelia here in this weather, and then they most definitely wouldn't want to lift her. But we could get in. The ferries stopped sailing yesterday, and they aren't going to start up again until tomorrow, because, well, there's no way they'll be able to dock. And we're still, as I said, half a meter short of where the water is going to end up. So yeah, no ferries anywhere on the island until tomorrow. Well, it started to get dark, and you can see that the water is pretty much at the edge of the quay now. Most waves kick over the edge here, so yeah, and we're still not done. We're still about 6 hours away from maximum, so this is going to get worse, but unfortunately I won't be able to record it because, well, there isn't much light down here, and, well, as I said, it's getting dark. Well, let's have a closer look and see how bad it is. Oh, the water isn't over the edge yet, but it's getting there, and you can see that all the Ophelia's riding very high now. think I'm going to have to go take a look at that because some of the fenders don't seem to be doing their job at the moment. But, well, we've still got power, that much for sure. Yeah. Question is if there's anything I can do about that. But I probably need to go on board to check out that plug. Really don't wanna, but I better. It's still quite windy, but it seems the worst is over. You can see how high the water went here. All this has been left behind by the water. So, oh, that's part of the electrical system. But Ophelia survived just fine. So did the other boats. So all is good. Now I just need to adjust the moorings and, well, check up on her, but it seems that everything is the way it should be. It's going to be windy for another couple of days and the water is still fairly high, but yeah, all's good. All's well that ends well, I guess.